Hello. How's everybody doing? Let's just give it a few minutes to let people get in here on this breaking news story. Hopefully today we'll see the chat. Hey, Kellyanne. We're just setting up the iPad here to see if I can actually see the messages. And I can hear me, so let me turn that down. Looks like my battery's running a little bit low on the iPad. Hi, Leanne Navarez. Yeah, the last couple of days have been a nightmare going live because the messages are not coming up. Hey, Rita. Hopefully YouTube has fixed this issue. I hope you're doing well, everybody. Let's just give it a few more minutes. I wasn't planning on going live today at all, but there's some very disturbing, shocking news coming out of Arkansas. The story just broke. And I almost fell over. I literally almost fell off my couch. Let's give it a few more minutes. It's only 1 minute and 40 seconds. I'm in disbelief. I'm in such disbelief that all of this is alleged, even though it has actually happened. Hey, Jane. Welcome in. Hey, Kelly. Welcome in. Wasn't planning on going live. Had to reintroduce some meds today, so feeling kind of crummy. What's new? But something big is breaking in Arkansas that just happened like very, very recently, like maybe within the last hour or so. It's just hit the AP. And I'm absolutely in total shock. I literally almost fell out of my chair. Let's get a few more people in. We're at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Make sure you hit those red hearts. Helps bring people in. You won't even believe this. I can't believe it. Let's see. Yeah, I can't watch the chat on the iPad. I'm buzzing. Oh, boy. Let me try the other mic. Okay, I just turned on the new mic. Can you hear me? Am I still buzzing? Yeah, see? And this is the new mic. These are the new ones. I can't send them back to Amazon because I don't have a receiver from the other ones that broke. No buzz. Okay, cool. Yeah, we lost a couple people. But thanks for letting me know. This is so frustrating not having the right equipment. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Smash that like button, everybody. I'm just going to go straight into this because I just like, this is not going to be a long video, but I don't even know where to begin. Joseph Duggar. I'm reading the statement right now. Former 19 Kids and Counting star accused of, we can't say the word, starts with the letter M, ends with the letter G, a 9-year-old girl on a Florida vacation. Yeah, I can't say the word on here. Joseph's arrest comes nearly 5 years after his brother Josh Duggar was sentenced to more than 12 years for possessing child SA material. That's all we can say. Hey, Keeping It. Thanks for coming in. Now, the recap where it says, need to know, And here's the recap, and it's bulleted. Joseph Duggar has been charged with lewd and lascivious M of a victim less than 12 years old and lewd and lascivious behavior conducted by a person 18 years or older. The charges stem from an alleged incident that occurred with a 9-year-old girl who was on a family vacation in Panama City Beach, Florida in 2020. No, I can't do that. Keep it. It doesn't work that way. Duggar allegedly admitted his actions after the victim's father and local detectives confronted him about the allegations. Yeah, I don't have OBS going on a vertical live, so I'm just going to have to read it. And I can't actually say the word because I'm in the process of trying to get remonetized, so absolutely can't say the word. If you're more successful at this than me, so be it. Former 19 Kids and Counting star Joseph Duggar is facing charges after allegedly MG a 9-year-old girl while vacationing in 2020. Joseph, who is now 31, was charged with lewd and lascivious M of a victim less than 12 and lewd and lascivious behavior conducted on a person 18 years or by a person 18 years or older, said the Bay County Sheriff's Office announced Wednesday, March 18th. Yeah, Kelly. Yeah. The former TLC star is now awaiting extradition to Bay County to face the charges. He was booked into the Washington County, Arkansas jail on March 18th at 3:59 p.m. local time. I believe that would be Central Time. People can confirm. Does anybody know? Is Arkansas on Central Time? He was charged in connection with a child SA case involving then 9-year-old girl who was on vacation with her family in Panama City Beach, Florida in 2020. Okay, the alleged SA occurred when Joseph allegedly asked the victim to sit on his lap. As the vacation continued, he also asked her to sit next to him on a couch and cover them with a blanket. Oh boy. During this time, Duggar manipulated the victim's underwear. I can't even say the words. And grazed her G. Duggar would also continue to rub his hands on her thighs, said Bay County Sheriff's Office. And he was supposed to be one of the good Duggar boys. I really think these over-the-top, and I'm a Christian. I'm a baptized and, confirmed Christian. But these over-the-top religious cults where people aren't allowed to be normal, especially normal kids, and they're not allowed to touch, and they're not allowed to hug, and they're not allowed to have S relations, this messes people up. And I'm not, blaming the church on this, but you always hear about this in these types of cults. The victim stated Duggar eventually apologized for his actions, and the incident stopped after the apology, said Bay County Sheriff's Office. The arrest was the result of the victim, now 14 years old, participating in a forensic interview regarding a report of past SA. The victim's father confronted Duggar and the incidents, and Joseph allegedly, no, let me read that again. The victim's father confronted Duggar about the incidents, and Joseph allegedly, there's that word again, allegedly admitted his actions to the father. And it says, Tonett Town, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, detectives. Now, People magazine confirms that Duggar is in police custody, but an official extradition timeline has not been released. Let me say that when I get off this live, which should be pretty soon, I'm going to do an inmate search with the sheriff's office or the police in Arkansas, wherever he's being held. I got to find out. I know in Florida it's Bay County, but I need to research where in Arkansas he's being held. Let me look at this really quick. There's just so much to digest right now that I can't even digest it. Hello, Sunshine Days. They were put out there to help promote the religion that is well known. Kellyanne Sullivan says, lock him up. Jane Rice says, nasty. I mean, I can't even read the words, people. Those kids grew up in a messed up house. It would be expected that at least some essay would be passed down. Absolutely. Without pointing fingers at some of the older generations. Kellyanne Sullivan, this is all so sick. See, I can't even speak right now. Kelly Ray says this is absolutely terrible, but not at all unexpected. I have to say, I didn't see this coming. Because, I always thought that Josh was the weirdo in the family. And, I follow the Duggar girls more than I follow the Duggar boys because I know at least 4 of them were victims of SA within their own home by their own family. Sunshine Day says, at least this is coming to light. Oh, this has opened up a whole new can of worms, Sunshine Days. Point away. Kellyanne Sullivan, what it says if he was booked in Washington County Jail at 1:14 p.m. Okay, I'll look that up. I'll look up and see if they have an online inmate search. Most sheriff's departments do have an availability to look up an inmate. Yeah, I need to look that up. I should have thought of that before the live, but I saw this and I literally, I didn't want to believe it. But then when I saw that, I typed it into the internet, into a search engine, and it was coming up across everywhere. I mean, they must have just released it to the Associated Press. Kelly says, is the victim a girl? I think so. Did they say that? Does anybody remember? Or did they just say a 12-year-old? No, it's a 9-year-old girl. She was 9. It is a girl. Oh. Gary Glitter and those people who were given OBEs. Charles is now retracting the awards. Kelly, I agree with you. I hope the victim gets much needed therapy. Yeah, this stuff usually doesn't come out until later in life. That makes me ask or think, are there any other victims? Because people who do this kind of creepy stuff, it's not usually just a one person. It's a sickness. It doesn't excuse the behavior, but it's definitely a sickness. But I do see it more often, especially in my career as a detective. I see it more often with these over-the-top Christian cults. And there are millions of Christians who don't do this kind of thing. But these cults and not allowing the kids to date when they're maturing, no hand-holding, no hugging, going out on a date with a boy or a girl, like Josh, he wouldn't have been allowed to date without his parents or a chaperone present. That has to be someone that's over 18. It's not a normal way to be raised. And I see this a lot with that form of Christianity. And I'm not bashing the Christian religion. It's just that some of these cults are they're cults, and they're just so over the top. And those Duggar girls, it just makes me sick. Everything that's happened to at least 4 of those girls. You got to wonder if this guy was doing things with the family as well. It's not one time exactly, Sunshine Days. Oh, thank you, Kelly, for asking that question. Kelly asked, what are the OBEs? Can you explain that, Sunshine Days, to the chat? Kellyanne Sullivan. its sentence of over 12 years, 151 months in federal prison on May 25th, 2022, following conviction, receiving child SA material earliest 2026. And that is for Josh. And this is now younger brother Joseph. Yeah, Kellyanne says he, meaning Josh, currently incarcerated at FCI Seagoville in Texas with an estimated release date of August 2032. Oh yeah, Sunshine Days, Order of the British Empire. I know it's British related, especially when you said Charles, but I couldn't say it because my mind is not clear right now. And I don't even know this victim. But a 9-year-old girl, I've had to work cases like this in my career sometimes, but I actually, even though I like to help people, I try to avoid these cases because this type of behavior it's just too darn disturbing. Kelly Ray says they don't do it once. It's a pattern of behavior noted early. In rare cases, SA could be with younger victims because they can control the kids more. Exactly. Then their S attraction could skew lower. Yeah, if he's 31 now, and this was in 2020, it doesn't say what month. We're looking at 5 to 6 years ago. So we're looking at the possibility of him being around 25 to 26 years of age at the time. That's not like a young teenage boy doing something inappropriate. That's a grown man who is old enough to know better. I think at any age you should know better. Oh, Kelly says, I mentioned that because I worked with this population for 35 years. Tough. Sunshine Day says, it would be the equivalent of a USA Medal of Honor. That would be a British OBE. Sickening. I hate to even do a video about this. And please be careful what words you use in the chat. We're just going to call it SA. People Magazine is referring to it as the letter M. Kellyanne Sullivan, I hate the thought of his kids. Has he done it with any of them? Are you referring to Josh or Joseph? And is Joseph married now? Because most of the Duggars are married now, and does Joseph have children? I definitely worry about the Josh Duggar kids because their mother is, I don't think, capable. She's being supported by Papa Duggar, living in a barn or something on the property, like a metal warehouse, and she started a puppy breeding business, and she's selling puppies now. Both of them who knows you could do it with one of the other family members if he's not married. Yes, boo-boo, I am back. But not under happy circumstances. This is just, it shouldn't be, especially knowing the brother's history, but I don't judge people based on actions of their parents or their siblings. Because I'm not like anybody in my family. I'm like an alien, my behavior and my morals. Yeah, you may have to watch the replay, boo-boo, but Joseph Duggar, who's one of the Duggar boys from 19 Kids and Counting, was arrested today in Arkansas for SA that occurred in 2020, allegedly occurred in Florida. And just because these reports say that he allegedly admitted it to the victim's father doesn't mean that it's been admitted to a district attorney or in a court of law. So we can't call this man guilty. But you weren't hit and tied up until you committed these crimes. What does that mean? Who committed these crimes? I don't understand what you're saying, Kelly. Awful. And this is from a grown man. This is just awful. He would have been around 25 or 26 if this happened in 2020. Yeah, this just has come out within the last hour or two. This just hit the press a few minutes before I went on the air. He was incarcerated at Washington County Jail in Arkansas this afternoon at 3:59 p.m. local time. That would be Arkansas time. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm missing some of the messages. Kellyanne, because I can't keep sitting at my desk. Kellyanne, it says the 14-year-old victim during a forensic interview reportedly disclosed incident of Duggar, a family vacation in Dominance. I think you mean Panama City Beach when she was 9. And by Big County Shelter? Do you mean Bay County Sheriff? I know it's hard to type on these small screens. That makes more of a permanent marker on his behavior rather than a pencil. I believe we only have heard the tip of the iceberg of the crimes that were committed. Exactly. That's my biggest fear. I mean, this could have even started when he was a minor, and remember, they're not allowed to hug or touch or kiss or go on a date unsupervised, and it has to be with someone, that's in the same cult of their religion. Yeah, started medication today, and not great. It's okay. But thank you for asking, Jay. Oh, the good news, if there's any good news here, I did hit the 3,000 hour mark last night, but I still don't see on the back end of YouTube where I can apply for what they call the partial monetization that doesn't include AdSense. That's supposed to kick in at 3,000 if you apply for it, but apparently it takes YouTube several days to process that before they can offer it to you, but I still don't see that listed in my eligibility. So since I had already been monetized in the past and this would be a remonetization, I don't know if I'll be able to try to get the partial. And the partial won't really help me, but it will give me the ability for memberships and super chats, for which they take 40%. But I would still apply for it if I become eligible for it later this week. So you guys keep watching those videos. Did I go to the doctor? Yes, yesterday. And basically I got the results that I expected. Hottest day of the year. Doctor's always hours behind. Then they have 5-10 minutes to spend with you because they're behind. And I had to restart a bunch of the meds. And we haven't had time to discuss the potential of having some sort of a heart implant put in at a later date and time so that I can get off some of these meds. But I said I physically and mentally can't handle another surgery right now unless it's a necessity. So we retry the medication. Yes, Rita, they better check all the children that was around him, including the Duggar girls. Those Duggar girls who I follow more than the Duggar boys, and I'm happy to say that they've had some success, especially Jill Duggar, Jessa Duggar. What's the one that's married to the soccer player, Jeremy Violu? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I can't think of which Duggar is that, the one that's married to the soccer star, and they live here in LA. In fact, at one time they lived like 10 minutes away from me. Can somebody look that up? Which one is married to Jeremy Vuolo? They have a YouTube channel that's extremely successful. He's now a minister. He's a retired professional athlete. I think they just had a third child. So a lot of the Duggar girls and the mom get out here quite a bit. Let me look that up. Is it Jeremy Bulow? Let's see. Yeah, which Duggar is he married to? Ginger. Ginger with a J. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. That's a big story, Melissa. Hello, April. Why no one talking about this missing general? Yeah, something big's going on. Hunger Duggar. What does that mean? Um, yeah, he's married to Ginger. They are the ones that live here in LA. And they seem to love it here. But they moved out of the valley and they moved up to the Santa Clarita area. What about the Duggars? Yeah, one of the Duggars, Jay, was just arrested and is sitting in Washington County Jail in Arkansas for SA of a 9-year-old girl. Hi, Melissa. Yes, they got married in 2016 and have 3 children. I'm looking at it right here now. Let's see. Yeah, she's successful. Ginger, Jess, and Jill. Jill's the one that's married to Derek, who's now an attorney. And they have 2 or 3 boys, but they lost a baby girl. I haven't studied that case enough, Melissa, to know what my gut feeling is on the general. But apparently he didn't have any cognitive issues, so it's not looking good. Jay says a lot of them got away from the parents as soon as they could. Absolutely. What was a long time ago, boo-boo? What happened today just happened a few hours ago. The wife is giving weird vibes. Oh, of the general? Yeah, I don't know enough about it. Well, Kelly, Donald Trump says he's going to disclose contact with UFOs and occupants soon. There's a big movie coming out this summer with Steven Spielberg. I'm sure he's under threat just as he was with Close Encounters from NASA, called Disclosure Day. Donald Trump is saying that, it's all going to come out, and this general knew a lot about that subject, and he has suddenly disappeared. But I have not been following that. I've been too wrapped up in this Nancy Guthrie case. But I do follow, for years, I have followed the news on the Duggars. Because a million years ago, when I used to have cable, I would watch all the TLC shows. So, or not all of them, but I always watched the Duggars, and I watched Kate Plus 8, which was a follow-up to the original show she had with her husband. Can't even think of that show right now. I'm just, my head is not right now. Just thinking which Duggar girls may have been victims, how many other young girls may have been victims. Let me look that up. I still follow those, the Goslings. What was their original show? Oh, John and Kate Plus 8 was the original reality series. And then in the process of their divorce, she spun off to Kate Plus 8. Melissa, it's not looking good for Timothy Busfield. And he may not be guilty with these boys, but he's definitely got proven past discretions with girls or women. Yeah, he has multiple claims against him. And that's why I say it's not looking good. Not because of this particular case, the most recent one involving the twin boys. Yeah, I have some videos on that actually. If you go through my true crime, there's some videos about that. because I actually had a copy of his arrest warrant. And it's I don't have it anymore. I finally tossed it because I just didn't want to look at it anymore. I don't know that, Melissa. I don't know, but I know he's admitted to past discretions. But I also know that the parents of the boys, they've been involved in a lot of trouble. They're not good people either. So, yeah, I don't necessarily know, Jay, that he did this type of crime with boys at all. The parents, they're really not good people. They're troublemakers. But it's just because of that allegation, which may not even be true, that all these other past discretions are now coming out. And if they were going to, make a false accusation against somebody, they certainly picked a good target or a good mark based on his past. But there's nothing in his past that I know of about young boys. Only indiscretions with women and younger underage girls. I don't care about the movie incident. You can see the video on that. Go to my playlist, my true crime playlist. And that wasn't with a minor. That was just, a 50-some-year-old man going out with a 20-some-year-old woman, but doing something that was horrific in a movie theater, and then later admitting that he did, and that it was consensual. Oh, I think he does have a sickness. But he's not necessarily guilty with the little boys. Actually, she doesn't have a pot to piss in. Excuse my language, Jay. She hasn't had a hit TV show or a starring role in 50 years. Yeah, it's that one could go either way. But either way, he's done. His career's over. And she's an odd one. Just speaking from experience, she's an odd one. That family doesn't know how to give true consent. Which family? Do you mean the family of the twin boys? Yeah, but this is, I just didn't see this one coming today. I mean, with 19 kids, you're always going to have a few bad apples in the bunch. But that over the top, it's like a fundamentalist Christian cult, basically. There's a lot of bad stuff that goes on in those cults. Any family that has SA during formative years. It's not looking good. Not looking good for him at all. Especially if while he's sitting in the pokey, and this case is waiting trial or waiting a plea deal, more victims can come out. Some which could be legit and some which may not be legit, just to skew the whole thing. Anyone else coming to that? She stops for a few minutes. Okay, retracted. Boo Boo, have you seen the news about all these mothers recently and their children? I don't know what news you're referring to, Boo Boo. What a messed up deal. Kellyanne Sullivan, is anyone else? It's like you're talking and then all of a sudden it stops and then I have to change the channel and then come back and it comes back on. Oh, really? Is my voice going in and out? Boo Boo says many different cases. Is there an audio issue? Let me go over to YouTube and I'll check my own channel. Hello, Tess. Well, I'm frozen on the iPad. You know, YouTube is having a lot of issues lately. Hello. Well, it's not even showing me live. It's not even showing me live. There we go. Yeah, I've got no problems here. But YouTube has had problems the last few days, especially with chats not showing and messages not showing. And I do have my chat filter set to all messages, but I'm not able to see them all. That's a good idea, Kelly. Thanks for suggesting that. Sign out of YouTube completely, then come back on. Look it up and you will see what the mother is doing to their kids. I don't know which mother you're talking about or what case you're talking about. And I do know with the Duggar parents, because their own children were involved as victims, they were fully aware of what was going on with Josh. Now, this alleged incident by Joseph, I don't know if this is an isolated incident or, sadly, if this is a pattern. Yeah, I'm very disappointed to hear this news today. Very disappointed. You know, and this will just bring up more trauma for the Duggar girls. And I'm trying to remember which four were involved. I know it was Jess, Ginger with a J. Hold on a second. My mind is just, it's this medicine. It's giving me a really bad headache. I'm typing in the husband's name, Derek Dillard. Oh, he's Jill's husband. So I know that Jill, Jessa, and Ginger, and I think another Duggar girl, they were all involved with that Josh mess. I kind of agree, Kelly. No way he made it to his 30s without SAing other kids. Crazy Legs, I'm sorry, but the whole family is weird. I honestly wasn't surprised that Joseph was arrested. I wonder if his wife will stay with him. That was my question earlier. Is he already married and does he have his own children? Does anybody know if Joseph Duggar, most of the Duggars are married. I think Jana was one of the last, but they still have some young kids too, some younger kids that are still at home. Every time I look him up, it's just coming up everything about. Okay, married to Kendra Caldwell since September 8th, 2017. They have 3 children. Great. And now it says 4, you say 4 kids, okay. Internet Movie Database. I don't know why, well, he would be in that for the television portion, but it says 3, but you're saying 4, okay. And he's going to be extradited to Bay County, Florida. Are all the kids still in the cult? If so, it's highly likely they would start the same thing with their own children that was done to them. That's a good question. I don't think all of the girls are still in the cult. That's why the father has no relationship with a lot of them because they've gone their separate ways and they're allowed to wear pants now. Yeah, this here says 3, but that could be outdated information because you know how fast those Duggars reproduce. I don't know, maybe that religion doesn't believe in birth control and you just have as many kids as you can. I don't know how the mother is even alive with having 19 and a couple of miscarriages and deceased babies. I mean, those are just the ones that are living, are the 19. Unbelievable. The Duggar young men are mostly involved, must have been influenced from some elder. It's very possible. And I worry about what's happened to Josh Duggar's children. Yes, they do not believe in birth control. It's pretty bad when, in order to take your family on a trip, you have to own a bus. Can you imagine if everybody had like 19 kids and they had to have these houses that were like as big as a building, like, and drive buses? Kelly says, or parent or older teens. And I don't want to get too much into this topic, but there's a possibility that at least one or two of these Duggars, one of the girls and one of the boys, and I'm not going to name names, that they're on the LGBTQ plus spectrum. And in the church that they were raised in, that is considered a sin. And so some of them, at least one of them that I know of, was given therapy as to not be that way. And that's ridiculous because people are born the way they're born. And so it's really sad that there's at least two of them that have been forced into, getting married and having kids because they can't live as their true selves. I know, Jay, that house they built did not seem big enough for the family. And have you noticed the pantry and the kitchen setup, and they have a soda machine like you would see in a restaurant, like in a fast food restaurant? They feed their kids tons of sodas. Imagine cooking for 19 kids 3 times a day. Like, how would you even get your groceries? They would be excommunicated, most likely, yeah. But that's sad. That's sad. Like, but there are at least two Duggar children that are on that spectrum, allegedly, and they cannot live as their true selves and have been forced into marriage with a member of the opposite sex. The kids did most of the work. Oh, exactly. The younger kids or the older kids would raise the younger kids. And then those kids would get a little older and raise the next. Yeah. I heard that Jana was responsible for most of it, and that's why she was very reluctant to even get married. And she was, I think, the last of the Duggar girls that are old enough to be married that got married. Because I still think they have a couple of little ones. Yeah, it was just, that's not the way to raise kids. But who am I to say? I don't have any kids. But I did help raise my Thai sponsor son because he came over. He was just starting high school. So I did have an influence in his life and still do. But my kids are fur babies. I've been too busy working my whole career. But yeah, that's the news today. I'm sad to report that. Thank you for all that have been tuning into my lives and rewatching my videos. Remember, I have live videos. I have long form content videos. Just click the video tab. The shorts, feel free to watch them, but the views don't count towards my watch hours. Kelly says the cult might call homosexuality a sin because same-sex unions would not produce more kids to go to the SA factory of the cult. Yeah, that's terrible though, especially the two that apparently are on that spectrum and they've had to not live a true life. I know somebody here in LA that happened to. It was a husband and a wife, and one of them was on that spectrum and wasn't actively involved in that, but it ended the marriage, and you know, the children have been greatly affected and very sad. But the one parent that, you know, did finally come out, they're now apparently very happy. I just think everybody should be their true selves, and these Duggar kids, none of them have ever had a chance. But I'm very proud of like the girls that have been very successful in their lives and seem to have, you know, nice husband, and they're doing really a good job with raising their kids. Hey, Boston Bill. Yeah, you have to watch this at the beginning, but it's just really horrible news came out of Arkansas today. I think this is my first video where I've ever mentioned the Duggars. Yeah, and if anybody, if I'm not seeing your message, it's because I am on the vertical live on the cell phone, and I'm also watching it on the iPad, but yesterday was a disaster. There were no messages coming up. This is definitely a YouTube glitch because I have all my settings correct. There's nothing I can do to fix this. Yeah, well, you're going to hear about it today, Boston Bill. Look up Joseph Duggar. Yeah, he's sitting in the pokey right now in Arkansas and is getting ready to be extradited to Bay County, Florida. Yeah, I've been hearing from other YouTubers that there's all sort of problems right now. Yeah, I would be too, Bill. Mine are going out, but half the people that are commenting, I'm not able to see their comments. And yesterday when I went on the air, I couldn't see any, not on the phone or the iPad. Then I had to go to my desk, but then they weren't all. Then they started coming up on the phone, and not all were showing on the desktop. It's definitely a YouTube issue. You know, I'm not an expert at this, but I know enough, you know, where to place my settings. Oh, wow. Can you get them back, or are they just not there anymore? Yeah, look him up, Joseph Duggar. He's 31 years old and looks like he's facing some very serious charges. Oh, they're gone? Well, everybody, thank you so much for continuing to binge watch my videos. I see most people are binge watching the lives, but it helps as well to binge watch the long form content. And I have, you know, most of my videos are long form content. So I have a lot of videos under the video tab under all kinds of different subjects, different playlists. So feel free to check those out too. There's a lot more of those than there are lives. The shorts are just kind of used to bring people in or to link another video to a short, but I don't get paid for the views. Well, I don't get paid for anything now, you know, because I'm not monetized, but those, you know, you can watch them 9 million times and I won't see monetization or a penny for shorts, for views. They're not going to count towards the accumulation that has to happen in a 365-day period. And hopefully now that I just reached the 3,000 mark again after midnight in the next few days, hopefully I'll get a notification from YouTube that I can at least apply for that super chat, super thanks button and a membership button. But I won't be able to get paid until I'm at 4,000 and reapply, and then they have to accept me. They could decide that, nope, we don't like you and we're not accepting you. Not much, no. As far as what I'm trying to do right now, I need people to be watching the videos as much as they can. And obviously people are, because the numbers have been going up. The Nancy Guthrie series has been very successful for me. There wasn't really anything to report on Nancy Guthrie today. There's nothing new. It wasn't worth going live for. But then this Duggar news just broke from Arkansas. And I know this case is gonna blow up. This is gonna be like huge in the news. And I thought, you know what, since it's just come across the AP, I would go on the air right away and let everybody know. Everybody, please give me a thumbs up or smash that like button, as the YouTubers say. Smash, smash, smash. Smash that like button. And, if you missed the beginning, feel free to come back on the replay. And if I'm not seeing all the people that are in here and I'm not seeing all the comments, I'm not ignoring you. It's just that the last week or so, only about half of the comments are coming through. Boston Bill says he's in trouble and the inmates will get at him. You wouldn't want to be him. Exactly. They'll probably have to separate him. He'll probably have to be in some kind of protected population area. I have kept looping anytime I've been awake for a couple days. Easy to do, folks. Give it a try. Thank you, Kelly. I know, Boston Bill, but remember, innocent until proven guilty. And just because he allegedly admitted it to the father doesn't mean that it's true. I can only wish that he was wrongly accused. His life is ruined now. Does anybody know what Joseph Duggar does for a living now that he is married and he does have either 3 or 4 children? He's been married since 2017. And he was married since 2017, but this crime that he's being accused of occurred in 2020 on a Duggar family vacation. And was it the entire family or was it just Duggar, his wife? It just says a family vacation to Panama City Beach. Did he already have kids by then? He's already married. But see, the thing with Josh, though, although all of his problems started when he was a minor, his problems continued. Well, some of his problems continued long after he was married and had children. TMZ will be going crazy. Absolutely, Boston Bill. Okay. Thanks for coming, Boston Bill. I just don't even want to have to report this. These kind of things, I have work cases like this occasionally, but I've never specialized in this because this bothers me. I don't like hearing, like, when animals are abused or kids are abused or these S crimes allegedly occur. We will say allegedly here, innocent until proven guilty on my channel. This is totally sickening. Like I said, Jay, I almost fell out of my chair. Another Duggar. Another accusation. Well, let's just let justice be served and time will tell. Yeah, I'm going to give it a few more minutes here so we can at least go an hour. We're at 53 and a half minutes. Ugh. Nothing new to report today on Nancy Guthrie. The case is status quo. Or elderly, exactly. I've done a lot of those cases, and those are awful too. Ugh. We lived in an effed up world, people. Well, like I said, he's being accused in 2020, and according to the internet, he's been married since 2017. So it wasn't like a Josh situation when, he was a young boy and the hormones were flowing and, they're not allowed to really date or, experiment or do normal things that kids do. But that doesn't excuse him. That's still completely wrong what he did and apparently continued to do. And I worry about his daughters. But now this is a whole new ball game here with Joseph. Yeah, this is super disturbing. Kids are innocent. And are there other victims? If he's guilty, exactly. Well, a lot of this, especially with the R word, it's all about violence and control. Not, yeah. Josh he started at a very young age. And allegedly also, cheated on his wife and asked one of his victims that he met on one of these online dating sites to put her hair in pigtails and dress up like a little girl while he was supposed to be on a business trip. And his wife has continued to stand by him, and that just makes me think that she's a piece of you-know-what, too. God only knows what she knows. That's why they don't let spouses testify against spouses in cases like this. Because she probably knows a lot. But now here's, Joseph. What does he do for a living? What do we know about his wife and his kids? Awful. Yeah, Rita says she is. What, a piece of you-know-what? Yeah, she's selling puppies now. She's got a puppy mill out in the Duggar warehouse because she doesn't even live at home. She lives in a effing warehouse that's on the Duggar property and is controlled by Jim Bob. Without Jim Bob, her kids would starve to death because she don't want to go to work. She's too busy, going down to Seagoville in Texas to visit little Joshy. Those poor kids. Those poor kids. And I guess one or two of them might still be minors by the time he's supposed to get out. Oh, but he won't be able to see his own kids. I don't know how that's going to work if he still will have minor children at that time, but he won't be able to be near them. Like, well, how will you live at home with your wife if you can't be in the same property with your own kids? But she'll probably stay with him. The kids will be pawned off to, Grandma and Grandpa Duggar. Okay, watch. According to Lene, who is Lene, and Brian Enton investigates joint podcast where the son-in-law had been looked at in Nancy Guthrie case. I don't know that podcast. I know Brian Enton. Like, I know who he is. And I watched him. In fact, I watched him earlier today. I don't know that podcast. Lenny? I don't know who that is. Yeah. I'm sure a lot more is going to come out about this. But if this is true, I feel very bad for his wife and his children. Josh, I feel bad for his kids, but I don't feel bad for his wife because she has supported his sick behavior and refuses to get a divorce. Refuses to get out of the Duggar world. Waiting for Joshy to get out. It was a joint podcast, I think. Okay. Yeah, I watch a lot of podcasts, but I don't know that one. Everybody smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing. I know this video's been a little bit down. Yeah, this is just a very bad topic to talk about. I feel sorry for kids that are in that position. Yeah, they don't believe in divorce at all. Yeah, even when your spouse is a convicted felon, who even went after his own sisters, and he never got charged for his crimes against his sisters. And apparently that was 4 of the Duggar girls. I know we talked about Ginger, Jill, and Jessa. I forget who the other one was. Was it Joy? I'm not sure. But there was a few other victims, and one of the cousins, the one that's kind of famous, that said it wasn't her. People enjoy discussing true crime. Yeah, this is just awful. Well, I hope he gets extradited to Bay County, Florida very soon. And if he's guilty, then justice will be served. But if he is guilty, he'll probably try to plead down the charges. So if there are other victims out there, it's very important that they come forward, whether it's family or anybody. If anybody's watching this about Joseph, if you have been a victim, please come forward. Do you think more of the brothers have been doing this? I think so. It's possible, LWC. I never really thought about it before. I thought about the generation older than them and what they may or may not have done in their lives, since they seem to not disapprove of what their eldest child did all these years. They didn't keep their own daughters safe, knowing what he had done. He was sent with a church group to go on some kind of a trip and build a barn. That was his rehab, that he was building a barn for someone within their church or their religion. That's how he rehabbed. He built a barn. And things continued to spin out of control. Jay says, oh yeah, prison system will take care of them. Well, that's kind of jumping the gun because we don't even know if he's guilty yet or if he's going to prison. But it's not going to be fun in jail either. Ugh. They'll probably have to segregate him from the rest of the population. But you know what? I'm going to keep this down to an hour tonight, and we're already at 62 minutes. So thanks for coming. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are binge watching the videos. I just hit the 3,000 hour mark last night. I just got to keep going. The views have been down a lot this week, so I got to keep going and keep plugging away at it. And whatever is meant to be, will be. Okay. Good night, Jane. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.